Carl and Lou here from Games, Brrraaains A Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial for short. And it's the Nasties. Well, right near the end here, and happily we're coming to what might be one of my favourite of the entire list. Pure, absurd entertainment. Cheesy, stupid, funny, violent, gory, sexy, everything in one movie.
Sure, definitely.
This is Flesh for Frankenstein, aka Andy Warhol's Frankenstein. Look, that name is dumb as fuck. I saw that. Couldn't understand it myself, tried to really dig around, struggled to find out why it was that. Seems to have been designed because it was like, it's art house more than anything else, which I get to a certain degree, but that put me off it because I was like, it's a long movie, and that shit, if it's going to be all that poncy art stuff, I don't want to watch this.
But no, it turns out
it's brilliant.
It's a banger. Yeah,
it's a banger.
good.
It's a banger. In West Germany and the United States, the film was released as Andy Warhol's Frankenstein, though only the title Frankenstein appears in the print itself. It was presented in the Space Vision 3D process and premiere engagements. Which makes a lot of sense when you think about some of the shots in the movie.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
It was rated X by the MPAA due to its explicit sexuality and violence. No surprise again.
Yeah.
In the 1970s, a 3D version played in London and Stockholm. A 3D version also played in Australia in 1986, along with Blood for Dracula, which is an obvious pairing. Flesh for Frankenstein, Blood for Dracula.
Oh, yeah.
That is a fucking genius
great
pairing.
fun. Oh.
Genius. The gruesomeness of the action was intensified in the original release by the use of 3D, with several disembowelments being shot from a perspective such that the internal organs are thrust towards the camera. You watch it, you get it. Absolutely.
Can someone redo this for now? Prince Charles, get on that.
It's amazing. It's absurd. It's corny. It's silly. It's awkward. It's explicit. It's entertaining. It's Flesh for Frankenstein. A 1973 horror written and directed by Paul Morrissey that fell afoul of the censors in the nasty scare of the 80s. No surprise watching it. No surprise at all.
God.
The 3D effects alone, even though they probably didn't watch the version in 3D, but still thrust towards the camera would have been enough. It stars Udo Kier. Banging.
Yay.
Might be one of my all-time favourite roles he's ever done. Joe D'Alessandro, Monique van Voorhen, and Arno Jurien.
I looked into that, the guy Joe.
Yeah.
Like, he was well known, did loads of these kind of films. Like, he's well known for, I think, quite a lot of sort of gay films and stuff like that. Because obviously, a very good looking man.
Oh, yeah.
Very comfortable with sexuality and stuff. So I think he had quite a good career in like quite art-housey films.
These four are the main cast. We've chosen, and I've chosen these names specifically, and I want it to be stressed that everybody is memorable in this. Absolutely super fucking memorable. Really, really are. Flesh for Frankenstein is going to hold a unique distinction, I think, for being the strangest entry on this list. And I mean that, it's so fucking weird.
It is great.
Bafflingly weird at times. But that makes it intensely entertaining. I don't want to preempt things. Because for quality, I think in a tier list, the likes of Cannibal Holocaust are going to be near the very top. For quality. But man, oh man, I'm going to struggle and not want to put this top.
I think, because this kind of ticks all the boxes. Like, you say video, like, if I'm saying the one video nasty, it's got everything you want in one of them. Whereas I think the Cannibal Holocaust, darker, whereas this is dark but fun.
It feels played up for laughs. The dialogue lines alone will convince you of that. The expressions, the behaviours. Yet amongst that, it is incredibly brutal. So much so that it was prosecuted. It was. But was passed with 56 seconds cut in 1996. However, happily, ladies and gentlemen, as of 2006, uncut completely. You can see it all in its glory. No issue getting hold of this one either. It's called Flesh for Frankenstein, but it is not your traditional Frankenstein tale. That is for sure. However, this is what I adored. You've taken that base work, that famous work that anybody can adapt because it's in the public domain and mess with and all of this, and gone, let's do something different. Massive props. Because it's still Frankenstein. It's still Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. It's still there, but not as you've ever seen it before, in my opinion.
They've even got the whole brother and sister, which is obviously in the original.
Elements like that, absolutely. So Baron von Frankenstein, he wants to create the perfect Serbian race. One that is subservient to his commands. To do this, he has assembled a male and female out of body parts, creating what he believes is his perfect Adam and Eve for his new race. He'll bring them to life, get them to mate, resulting in children that are perfect. Stop right there. What?
Yeah.
What? how dead flesh. That, like, it doesn't make any fucking sense. No. And him explaining it over and over again to his manservant, Igor, basically.
Yeah.
Every time he says it, it's even more fucking stupid every time you hear it. But you're like, okay, I'll buy it. Because Udo Kier, who isn't dubbed in this, this is just him, plays it with such ferocity, such a vigorous intensity, such believability that I'm like, yeah, he is going to do this.
The version we watched, we had German we had subtitles that was written how he was saying the words.
Yep, that was it. Yep. But there is a problem. He can't finish his work because he needs a head for the male, one with a brain that and he needs one with a high libido because he wants this thing to be fucking night and day, basically. Yeah, you can see this is about sex a lot.
Yeah.
And importantly, because good God, this is stressed, has the correct Serbian nazium. The nose. Nazum. Over and over again. That seemed to the point of obsession.
Yeah.
That seems to be his biggest sticking point. Now, we should know all of this is explained at the start of the movie, often just talking back and forth with Igor, but it's not boring. It doesn't feel like exposition. No. Because while doing a lot of walking around, what a location. The castle, the village. It feels out of time, but it feels where they say it's set. Looks spectacular. Love it. The outfits. Oh, God, glorious fucking outfits. Love it. Felt it. Believed it. Definitely. Never felt like a set either. No. Felt like a real place. Yeah. So this is when Nicholas comes in. A local farmhand. He's a local farmhand. Dad is basically, he's banging the local town and brothel. He just bangs his way for everybody. Easy to see why. Hunky, good looking, bit of confidence about him. He's pretty much perfect. He runs into Baron Frankenstein's wife first, and immediately she's all like, "Ugh, you disgust me. Can you come back to my place now, please?" Yeah. "Ugh, you dirty bastard." And she's all like, "You dirty, get off my land and stop doing that." And she's all like,
but also, she's like, frisky for him.
But yeah, Baron von Frankenstein figures this head will be perfect for the monster. However, Nicholas has took his friend who wants to go join a monastery and has no interest in sex. And Nicholas is like, "Nah, you don't do that. Come to the brothel with me. You'll change your mind." This guy, I think it's implied this guy's gay. Yeah. That's what it implies, I think, more than anything else. And that's the kind of thing I'm going to run away to a monastery because in a brothel he's got no interest. Now, should we talk about this? Should we mention this? Right, so the brothel women. I'm going to give them some credit here. They went for more natural women. Yeah. Various shapes and sizes.
Yeah, it makes sense in the context of
we were surprised because normally you'd have like perfect figures. Yeah. Supermodel type women if it was a film. This is like they're overweight. Some are overweight. You can imagine they smell.
Yeah. Well, when you think about it, like brothels back in the ancient times, like there's a lot of bad hygiene going on. Like, I don't think it was very as glamorous as like Game of Thrones make it look. They probably stunk to high heaven. This
one looks and feels like that. You could feel it. You could get it. But Nicholas has a great time there. His friends had enough, ain't interested, and buggers off. That's who Baron mistakes for Nicholas. It's dark. They see him. Figure that's him. He's got a high libido. Got a nice nosm. That will do. So they end up killing him. They dismember his head in a gory, but very bad effects. Very bad effects scene. And knock Nicholas out, hitting Nicholas from behind because they confused it too. When Nicholas wakes in the morning, he kind of like sees his friend dead, buries the body, and kind of just carries on. Yeah, we were all a bit like, you'd probably be in trouble. Like people would be suspected you for doing that. But he's also haven't got the ire of Katrine, the Baron's wife and sister. We should stress that part as well. When she found him on the land, she told him he had to come to the castle the next day. Presumably he's expected to be fired and kicked off their land, no longer allowed to work for them. Now, we haven't mentioned it yet, but let's jump in here. They've got kids, the Baron and Katrine.
Oh, yeah.
And throughout the movie, it's implied that the kids are odd. Yeah. A little bit off. They're often watching through mirrors. Later on, watching their mother bang. Yeah. Sneaking around their father's laboratory. They're pale. Yeah. They don't say a word. Yeah. And you know what? It's fine. Yeah. They're the offspring of a brother and sister union. Yeah. And I'm going to say they may not be okay.
Yeah. And read it before when kid actors talk too much. You like.
They don't say a word, do they?
Yeah. No.
And they are involved in a very cool final scene, but we'll get to that. Yeah. So Nicholas, he goes to the house. He's all dressed up nice, bit hungover, that kind of thing from the night before. But it turns out Katrine jumps from, I'm admonishing you, to, oh no, actually, but I'm going to try and I want you to do this instead.
Yeah.
So basically, she hires him to work in the castle as manservant.
Yeah.
But also to satisfy her sexually.
Yeah, man.
Which, you know, he's like, all right.
Sweet, yeah.
She's an attractive woman.
Yeah.
He's like, not going to be fired. Why not? He's like, oh, listen, this ain't the worst job I'm going to have in the world.
Yeah.
But, of course, as soon as that happened, we were like, oh, shit. If he comes across or sees the Baron's Frankenstein monster, he's going to recognise it as his friend. Yeah. Which ends up happening at a dinner scene.
Oh, yeah.
The dinner scene. But, you know, the Baron's managed to bring his creations to life, a woman and a man. And, of course, Nicholas recognises his friend's head, but does brilliantly play it very cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's immediately aware that this is wrong and it's odd because he doesn't recognise the body. They do a really good job here. In fact, actually, I'm going to say, how did they do that? So, like, his friend is the body is way taller. Massively taller.
Yeah.
And that throws Nicholas off as well because the body isn't the same that his friend's body was in.
He does quite like that smouldery look. Just like, keep it together. Interesting.
But the height thing, I'm talking about his friend, like, how did they manage to do it like we looked smaller before? I guess they just shot it in a clever way.
Angles, like they did Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
Okay. He does talk to Katrine about it, but Katrine's like, look, stay away from the Baron's laboratory. But, you know, we knew that straight away. He's never going to listen to that. He's going to want to know what's going on. So, you know, he's going to dig around. He's going to find out and stuff like that. Will he find out those answers? One of the things that we consistently laughed and joked about throughout was basically while the Baron has kids with Katrine, it's like, do they know they've got children? Because I never seem to really bother with these kids.
No, it's more like, But in that probably in line with a lot of rich upper class people.
Well, no, because Katrine's got a little bit more of like interest. Because earlier on, she's like taking them out of school, isn't she? And she hires a nanny. She goes on a picnic with them.
I think is it because like people might be asking, were they asking questions about them or something? Like they're a bit odd at school as well.
Yeah.
It's a bit of like, they might know they're a bit incestuous and shit.
So we are glossing over a lot of plot elements here, but ultimately it is the Frankenstein tale. You know what's going to happen. You know Nicholas is going to end up confronting the Baron. The Baron's going to realise this is the man I want. It does happen that way. He tries to encourage his creation and a woman have sex as well, or nudity. You know, you get a lot of dong.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely get a lot of dong here and stuff like that, but they won't have sex. And like I said, I suspect this is because not only like this guy is gay. I think they were implying it with the brothel stuff.
Yeah.
And that's why he doesn't want to have sex with this woman.
Yeah.
So that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But amongst it, you've then got these absolutely shockingly brutal scenes, such as when the Baron decides he wants to fuck his creation, literally.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't mean like normal sex.
No.
I mean, he puts his hand inside her chest cavity.
Yeah.
And we get a very long protracted him coming scene.
Oh, yeah.
That is downright what the fuck.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
It is fucking bizarre. You then get the same sort of weird, odd behaviour from Igor, that character.
Yeah.
And he starts to try and rape the maid. And ends up killing and murdering her. And you get that shot of where her entrails fall through the grate towards the camera.
Yeah.
Another one that was for the 3D. Another one is at the end when the Baron gets impaled. And it's his gallbladder, which comes screaming out towards the screen. Why is gallbladder? Because in probably the moment where we went, this movie's the best thing ever. Yeah. In a line that we just laughed out loud at. Do you remember what it is?
Oh, you've got to...
To know death, Otto, you have to fuck life in the gallbladder. Yeah. And we were like, what the fuck did he just say? Loved it. Yeah. Absolutely love it. The plot is insane. Yeah. Yet it is so fucking entertaining. This film holds your attention. Yeah. Thanks to these campy-ass performances and, as already said, this extravagant style where they really, really went out of their way to make it look special. Yeah. I would go on to suggest this. I would not be surprised if Mary Shelley's Frankenstein from 1994 borrowed some ideas from this film about the extravagance. Now, remember what I said to you when I watched Mary Shelley's Frankenstein? I don't like that movie. I think it's long, boring and stupid. But what I did say to you is it's one of the most stylish films I've ever seen. Yeah. I'm telling you, they saw this was seen and gone, let's do some of that extravagance, that lavishness.
Campy.
Yep, campy.
And then when
absolutely.
you look at the actors in that one as well, it makes sense. Yeah.
It is a Frankenstein story, but in a very different skin. It's heavy on the gore, as you said, and very unashamed when it comes to sex. And, of course, this is non-conventional sex as well. I think that's really, really important. These bad bad taste moments. That's what they are. They're bad taste, because you could argue you never had to do this.
Yeah.
You never had to. But you were like, how can we up the ante? You know? Oh, let's have him fuck the surgical wounds.
Yeah, and you see a lot of Nicholas as well. But I said before in the beginning that the guy Joe that plays Nicholas, like, that was his jam.
But I don't mind that.
No.
We get enough tits and vag. Let's have some dong and ass.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I have no problem with that. There were many gory moments, enhanced by, of course, the fact that the film was made to be shown in 3D. I'd kind of really like to watch it again in that, but it's bloody entrails, organs, gore, thrust towards the screen.
Yeah.
Nothing special, probably a bit shit, really.
Yeah.
But because I like this film so much, like, I'd watch this one again. I will watch this one again in the future.
Maybe try and campaign cinemas to show it again. Like, I don't know,
Or just keep your eye out. Yeah, someone finally does
so
it.
Cool.
But it's also one of those, I think, where you can see why the DPP had such an issue with it.
Oh.
Unquestionably.
Yeah.
But, you know, completely uncut now, so fill your boots, folks. And I'm glad it's uncut. This is one where I generally think the gore and sex is such a major part of what makes Flesh for Frankenstein such a memorable watch.
Yeah.
I'd put this alongside Expose, the other Udo Kier one of the Nasties, where it's so important and integral to it that to miss it would hurt it. The laughs, overall, we said a comedic edge, probably are unintentional.
Yeah.
But they will come. I think that's really important as well. The line we already said, how can he keep a straight face?
Yeah. The head when he gets like decapitated heads.
Yeah, it's so bad. You're like, but because it's so good elsewhere, that's so forgivable. It fits, it feels, it's that campy fucking tone. Yeah. This is one of the best on the list in my opinion. Definitely. It's a great horror movie. You have to, if you've never seen this, go out of your way to check this one out.
I think as well, a lot of some of the video nasties you come away feeling grubby because this one it just feels
entertaining.
Just fun,
Yeah, I'd recommend this to people. I'd be like, sit down with the whole family and have a blast. Fucking have a blast. Absolutely. Listen, check it out. Come back here. If you've already seen it, let us know what you think in the comments.
Thank you very much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please help us out by giving us a thumbs up and hitting that subscribe button. If you really liked what you saw, consider donating to keep the website and channel running by buying us a coffee via our coffee page or picking up some merch from our Big Cartel store. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as via our social media, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, as well as listen to our interviews via SoundCloud, Apple Music and Spotify. Just search for GBHBL. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?